Now, as we can see, the Patriots, they are taking complete control of all this. And I do believe there's an operation going on, a silent operation behind the scenes. And they're getting prepared for the surge. Now, is it going to be announced during this time period that they're making arrests and all this is happening? I don't believe so. I believe we will find out later. But I see there's a lot of indicators that there are certain individuals that are panicking. They're scared. They know their time is up. And what's very interesting is that Trump signed the stimulus package, and in the economic report we talked about how he's using this to guide us through the transition of the economy from a central bank globalist system to a people's system. And he went ahead and activated the Defense Production Act to take control of the economic system. Now, in this stimulus package, Nancy Pelosi, she had funds that were going to the John F. Kennedy Center. And on the John F. Kennedy Center, we had two individuals that Obama appointed to this center. And that was Valerie Jarrett and Susan Rice. And I do believe that Nancy Pelosi thought, oh, this money will go to them, they'll launder the money, we'll get this money back to certain individuals. Well, Trump, he decided that, you know what? Let's remove those individuals on the John F. Kennedy Center, on the Board of Trustees, and let's put 10 new people on the board. One of them is Jon Voight, the actor. The other one is Mike Huckabee, whose daughter is Sarah Sanders. She is the White House press secretary. He did the old switcheroo. Payback. Unbelievable. And we are getting very strange messages since this event has started. Now, the Pope, he's out there and he's reporting that he doesn't think he's going to be Pope for much longer. Says he misses pizza. Now, you can take this any way you want. I know we're in the middle of Lent, and he might have given up pizza right now because it's dangerous. But this is very interesting, where he was out there saying that he misses his freedom. So, getting a lot of strange messages, not just from the Pope, but from Hollywood actors and actresses. I know on Twitter, the header pages are being changed. Some people have different theories. Some people say it's Twitter doing it. But as of right now, we can see that the messages that are coming out are very, very odd. So let's go down the rabbit hole and let's see what has been happening here. Now, Boris Johnson, and like I said before, there are certain individuals that are getting coronavirus, and I think it's for a specific reason that if there's no way out of this, they can't run, we might see a suicide. Now, Trump came out and said, we're going to see a lot of people commit suicide if we don't open up the economy by Easter. And I think he said this on purpose to show that there's going to be a lot of suicides. Boris Johnson, as we know, he says he has coronavirus. I believe that certain individuals are going into hiding as the event starts moving forward. Now, Boris Johnson, he has written to every household warning the national emergency will get worse. And he sent a letter to 30 million homes with a leaflet about what to do, saying that you need to stay inside. And I think during these operations, they want people to stay inside. And what's very interesting is the mainstream media, certain corrupt politicians, they're fighting, and certain governors, they're fighting very hard against hydroxychloroquine. And they're banning it. They're doing whatever they possibly can. Michael Caudry tweeted this out. Breaking: French government reverses early ban on hydroxychloroquine for treating COVID-19 patients in light of successful clinical studies showing significant efficacy against the virus. Hydroxychloroquine may now be prescribed to treat COVID-19 in France. Very interesting. He continued. Hydroxychloroquine globally. India, Hungary, and the United Kingdom ban export of the drug to save supply for themselves. Jordan and France authorize use of hydroxychloroquine to treat COVID-19. Bahrain claims success with drug on coronavirus patients. U.S. FDA approves off-label use. Restrictions of HCQ in the USA. Democrat Governor Cuomo of New York bans use of drug unless controlled in a New York trial. Democratic Governor Sisolak of Nevada bans use outside of emergency room and hospital. Democrat Governor Whitmer of MI threatens the license of doctors who prescribe hydroxychloroquine. So they're trying to keep this in a small area. They do not want doctors prescribing this drug at all. Why? What's the reason? There are a lot of tests out there. Actually, the drug has been approved by the FDA. It's been around for a very long time. Very minimal side effects. And they're really trying to stop people from using this. Remember, how do you create a panic? How do you create chaos? Now, the mainstream media, they are losing the narrative. More and more people are not listening to the mainstream media as we move forward. Actually, Trump tweeted out, polls are showing tremendous disapproval of mainstream media coverage of the virus crisis. The fake news just hasn't figured that out yet, he continued. Because the ratings of my news conferences, etc., are so high, Bachelor finale, Monday Night Football type numbers, according to the New York Times, the mainstream media is going crazy. Trump is reaching too many people. We must stop him, said one lunatic. See you at 5 p.m. Now, mainstream media, they have been cutting away. Some of them are saying that they're not going to be covering the pressers anymore because he's giving out false information. And we know that if this does happen, where they block him out completely, where we go dark, he's going to communicate over the emergency alert system or the emergency broadcast system. And I do believe that they are testing this now, sending out messages here and there. Now, Trump suggested that he was going to order the states to quarantine themselves. Now, this was done on purpose. He doesn't really want to do this. He doesn't want to make this announcement. He really wants the governors to do this. Remember, optics are very important. He doesn't want it to seem like he's the one locking everything down. He's just saying, listen, make sure that you're not with more than 10 people. Actually, less is a lot better. Stay home so we can ride this thing out. So what's happening? The governors now, they are pushing this and locking their entire state down. Actually, Cuomo, he completely flipped out when Trump mentioned this. He said, if Trump ordered a federal quarantine, it would be a declaration of war. I don't think the president is looking to start a lot of wars with a lot of states. He did this on purpose because optics are very important. He wants the governors to do this. Now, what's very interesting is that the CDC came out and they issued a travel advisory urging against travel to many different areas, one of them being New York. Now, if everyone has to stay at home and we're following social distance guidelines, what's the purpose of the travel advisory? Well, maybe they don't want people going to certain areas. Why? Are there certain operations happening in these areas? Trump tweeted out the following. On recommendation of the White House Coronavirus Task Force, and upon consultation with the governors of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, I have asked the CDC Gov to issue a strong travel advisory to be administered by the governors in consultation with the federal government. A quarantine will not be necessary. Full details will be released by the CDC tonight. Thank you. So they're keeping individuals away from certain hot spots within these different states. And what's very interesting, there's a lot of people coming out saying, these numbers and what they're saying doesn't make sense. If you look at the wait times in hospital, most of them are 0. And you have to be very careful when you look at the wait times, because a lot of times they'll give you the average wait time over a span of time, and I'll say 2 hours. That's not the wait time right now. A lot of people are taking videos of certain areas saying, here's my hospital, nothing is going on. And they've gone to other hospitals and say, nothing's going on. So something doesn't make sense. It's not adding up. So the governors right now, they are going ahead and they are telling people, stay at home, don't go outside. They're locking it all down. So why are they designating hotspots? Why are governors ordering people to stay inside during a specific time? Why did the CDC come out and say, listen, we shouldn't be traveling to New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and so forth? Well, I do believe there's operations that are going on. And remember, the USNS Comfort and the USNS Mercy, Mercy's in, I think, LA, and Comfort is in New York, and they're there for a specific purpose. Now, what's very interesting, while the USNS Comfort was sailing to New York, they did something very strange, and IET-17, Inevitable ET, tracked the ships. Now, on the web, you can track planes, you can track ships, and the course they took is very odd. Actually, they went around in a circle and made a Q. That is kind of odd. And Lisa Crowley, she noticed something else. She said, interesting use of USNS Comfort. So take a listen to what they used Comfort for in the past.
Comfort was sent to Haiti, not as a hospital but as a processing center for migrants. Instead of extra doctors, she boarded civilian personnel to ID and process Haitian migrants. Arriving in June that year, she took on 1,100 people, of which 400 were transported to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Later on that year, Comfort returned to Haiti as a hospital to receive casualties from the continued unrest and returned to her home port in October 1994. Operation Noble Eagle.
Now, in the past, they used it to take people to Gitmo. That is very interesting. Then Z Patriot looked at Lisa's snapshot of this video, and the header page of this is a picture of the USNS Comfort. And Z Patriot says, anyone see what I see? Now, on the side of the ship, on the left side where the ropes are, there looks like there is a letter Q on the side of the ship, which is very, very interesting. Now, the other thing that is very interesting, and someone actually went ahead and commented on one of my videos on my website, and they mentioned Richard Grenell. Now, remember, he's the acting director of the intelligence organization. And he put out a strange tweet. It says, at Real Donald Trump, the Comfort will arrive at Pier 90 in Manhattan on Monday and see patients on Tuesday. Now, why would he be tweeting this out? Trump already told us this. Why is he even involved relaying a message to Trump? That's kind of odd right there. Then we have James Comey. And we know we're getting a lot of tweets and they're sending a lot of messages back and forth. Now, he sent out a very telling message. Now, he sent out messages before, but this one, boom. This is what he said. I don't know whether this game is called Camel Cup or Camel Up, but either way, I lost. Now, think about this for a second. I lost. He has the cover to the game and the game set up on his Twitter feed. It's Camel Up. And what's very interesting, he has the board laid out. And there's a pyramid. The top of the pyramid is not there. Then he has cards with 5x5, 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 which is very interesting. And then he has the card with the pyramid as number 1. And he has all these camels running. So this is very interesting. So here's the strategy of this game. And this is where it's going to make sense. In Camel Up to 8 players bet on 5 racing camels, trying to suss out which will place first and second in a quick race around a pyramid. The earlier you place your bet, the more you can win. Should you guess correctly, of course. Camels don't run neatly, however, sometimes landing on top of one another and being carried toward the finish line. Who's going to run when? Now, is Comey telling us that they lost, the top of the pyramid is off, and he's wondering who's going to run when? Because it's all about running. This is interesting. Then we have Joe M. He tweeted out, hey loser, I hear Guantanamo gets pretty hot. Looked up the definition of Camel Up, and it says, to drink large quantities of water or other liquid in preparation for being someplace really hot. Now that is very interesting, which tells us that they are panicking. They know they have lost. Now Trump, he has activated the Armed Force Reserves to battle this entire event. He can have up to 1 million individual reservists ready. Now that's very interesting right there, which leads into what comes next here, which is even more interesting. The U.S. military command teams in charge of protecting Homeland Security are being isolated in Cheyenne Mountain Bunker, where they will remain sealed off until the event is completed. Now that is interesting because we know from Q's posts, Trump is also going to be insulated and protected on Air Force One when the time comes. So while this event is going on, Trump decided to retweet something very interesting. This is from Ron DeSantis. He's the governor of Florida. And this is about Andrew McCabe. And it says the firing of Andrew McCabe is a rare example of someone being held accountable in Washington. I hope the IG issues his report soon. So why, during all of this, did Trump decide to retweet this on March 17th? So Enoch tweeted out the following. Why would POTUS retweet the below tweet from March 17, 2018? Could Q's post from March 17, 2018 be relevant? Next week, boom, boom, boom. USMC activated. And we've read this before. Like we said, I do believe that the dates that we were given back a year or 2 years ago, that is the story of what is happening right now. That's why Q continually says future proves past. And one of the posts goes down, how bad is the corruption? Talks about the FBI, Department of Justice, and it's like a reminder of what has been going on. And then the other post is next week, boom, 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 USMC activated, US 3. So something is about to happen. And if we go back to 2019 on March 28th to post 3254, we get section 2385. This was posted, advocating overthrow of government. Whoever knowingly or willfully advocates, abets, advises, or teaches the duty, necessity, desirability, or propriety of overthrowing or destroying the government of the United States or the government of any state, territory, district of possession thereof, or the government of any political subdivision therein, by force or violence, or by assassination of any officer of any such government, or whoever, with the intent to cause the overthrow of destruction of any such government, prints, publishes, edits, issues, circulates. Now remember, this is knowingly. So they knowingly did this. That's what's important here. If we go back to post 3259, this post says, together we win. Where we go one, we go all. If we go back 2 years to March 28th, we see post 981. And it says, you are safe. They are terrified. Sleep well, patriot. You elected us to keep you safe. We will not fail. Then we move to post 982. In this post on March 28th, Q gives us a link to National Review. This is about Russia collusion, the real story behind Hillary Clinton and who was involved in Russian collusion. And under this, it just says, truth. I do believe something is coming. And Q has been telling us through posts from the past what is happening right now. And Trump, when he was speaking to the press on March 27th, he said something very, very interesting, which really tells you what they are doing right now and who they are doing it for. Take a listen to Trump when a reporter asks him about children. What would he say to children?
Please, corner.
Thank you. Hi, Mr. President. Owen Jensen with EWTN News. Yes. Millions of school kids across the country are home, including my own, bored, restless, learning a little bit online, but it's better in the classroom. You know that.
Yeah.
And they're my kids. They're crawling the walls and climbing the walls, and my wife is about to lose it. Right. So many of them are watching right now. What would you say to those kids right now? Elementary school, middle school, high school. What would you tell them right now who are watching from home?
I would say that you are a citizen of the greatest country anywhere in the world. And we were attacked like nothing that's happened possibly since 1917, many, many years ago. We were attacked. And we're winning the battle, and we're going to win the war, and it's not going to take, hopefully, that much longer. But we have to win the war. And I would say that they have a duty to sit back, watch, behave, wash their hands, stay in the apartment with mom and dad. They look like they're lucky to have you as a father. And just learn from it. But, you know, the young people have been tremendous. Some of them are very happy not to go to school. You understand that. Perhaps yours, perhaps not. But we have literally had no problem. But again, they should just sit back and be very proud of our country because we're doing it for them. You know, ultimately, we're doing it for them more than anything else, if you think about it.
Now, if you listen to what he said, we are doing this for the children. And if you listen to what he said, we're fighting this invisible enemy. We're going to win this war, and we're doing it for them. And Q, on March 28th, decided to post. This is post 3905. Now, these are long. Let me read them. A person's value: 1, vote; 2, monetary value, tax contribution; 3, blank. Why is free thought ridiculed, challenged, and threatened when a person is opposed to the mainstream media narrative? This is in brackets in bold. 2, remains fixed, degree allowable by economic recession expansion. Number 1, bold, in brackets, remains a variable. Number 1, bold, brackets, dependent on controlled system of information dissemination. What happens when 90% of the media is controlled, owned by 6 corporations? What happens when those same corporations are operated and controlled by a political ideology? What happens when the news is no longer free from bias? What happens when the news is no longer reliable and independent? What happens when the news is no longer trustworthy? What happens when the news simply becomes an extension arm of a political party? Fact becomes fiction, fiction becomes fact. When does news become propaganda? Identity creation. How does the average person who is under a constant financial stress by design find time to research and discern facts versus fiction? Majority of people more prone to believe someone in power sitting behind a big brand news name. Do people, and this is in brackets in bold, human psyche, tend to follow the majority mainstream viewpoint in fear of being isolated and or shunned? Mainstream is used for a reason. Bold brackets, dominate, trend in opinion. But this is in bold and brackets. If majority of people believe X, then X must be validated. True. Why do mainstream media heads within different orgs always use the same keywords and or catchphrases? Coordinated by who? Outside entity providing instructions. Do they count on the fact that people, human psyche, are more prone to believe something if heard over and over again by different trusted sources? Do echo chamber tactics provide validation, credibility to the topic, point being discussed? Threat to intellectual freedom. Would control over, and this is in brackets bold, of these institutions, organizations allow for the mass control of population viewpoint, re desired topic. Read again, digest. Would control of these institutions, organizations allow for mass control of population viewpoint, re desired topic, logical thinking. Why, after the election of 2016, did Dees and MediaCorp jumpstart a coordinated, planned, divisive blitz intended to create falsehoods, illegitimacy of election, character assassinations of POTUS through sexism, racism, every other ism, pre-post 2016 election? Why were violent, brackets bold, masked terror orgs such as Antifa immediately created, funded? Why were these orgs tasked with immediate intimidation shutdown of any pro-POTUS rallies and or events? Why were marches immediately organized to counter and silence pro-POTUS rallies and or events? Why were marches immediately organized which divided people into sex, gender, race? Ism. When you control the levers of news dissemination, you control the narrative. Control of the narrative equals power. When you are blind, what do you see? They want you divided. Divided by religion, sex, political affiliation, class. When you're divided and angry and controlled, you targeted those different from you, not those responsible, controllers. Divided, you are weak. Divided, you pose no threat to their control. When non-dogmatic information becomes free and transparent, it becomes a threat to those who attempt to control the narrative and or stable, livestock-kept sheep. When you are awake, you stand on the outside of the stable, groupthink collective, and have free thought. Free thought is a philosophical viewpoint which holds the positions regarding truth be formed on the basis of logic, reason, and empiricism rather than authority, tradition, revelation, or dogma. This represents a clear and present danger to the constitutional republic of the United States of America, and that's in all caps. Now, that is a repeat of a previous post, and it seems that Q is letting us know, and letting everyone else know now, by repeating this, that this is what they have done. So then we move on to post 3906, and it says the following. Decide for yourself, be free from outside opinion. Decide for yourself, be objective in your conclusions. Decide for yourself, be true in your own beliefs. Decide for yourself, be open to the following, the facts. Decide for yourself, be strong in defending your beliefs. Decide for yourself, be resistant to blindly accepting factless statements. Those who attack you, those who mock you, those who cull you, those who control you, those who label you, do they represent you? Or do they represent themselves in some form? Mental enslavement, the Great Awakening, freedom of thought, was designed and created not only as a back channel to the public, away from the long-standing mind control of the corrupt and heavily biased media, to endure future events through transparency and regeneration of individual thought, breaking the chains of groupthink, but more importantly, aid in the construction of a vehicle, a ship, that provides the scattered free thinkers with a starter new social network platform which allows for freedom of thought, expression, and patriotism or national pride, the feeling of love, devotion, and sense of attachment to a homeland and alliance with other citizens who share the same sentiment. When non-dogmatic information becomes free and transparent, it becomes a threat to those who attempt to control the narrative and or the stable. When you are awake, you stand on the outside of the stable, groupthink collective, and have free thought. Free thought is a philosophical viewpoint which holds that positions regarding truth should be formed on the basis of logic, reason, and empiricism rather than authority, tradition, revelation, or dogma. When you are awake, you are able to clearly see the choice is yours and yours alone. Trust and put faith in yourself. You are not alone, and you are not in the minority. Difficult truths will soon see the light of day. Where we go one, we go all. And then we have post 3907. The entire world is watching. Patriots from around the world are praying for America. We are all bound by a feeling deep inside, a feeling that cannot be publicly expressed for fear of ridicule, a feeling that challenges the mainstream media narrative, against that which we are told to accept and dare not question, but simply that people are being abused by those in power and time is running out. Remember the battles of Lexington and Concord. Give me liberty or give me death. For far too long, we have been silent and allowed our bands of strength that we once formed to defend freedom and liberty to deteriorate. We've become divided. We become weak. We elected traitors to govern us. We allowed evil to prey on us. Those who claimed to represent us gave us false hope, made false promises. The evil and corruption only grew. This is more than party politics. This is about restoring old glory. This is about saving our land and our people from those who wish us harm. This is about preserving our republic. This is about preserving our safety, our strength. This is about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is about protecting our children. This is about saving America. We are all God's children. We are fathers, mothers, daughters, sons, brothers, sisters. We do not look at a race. We do not look at skin color. We are united in these states of America. We are and will always be patriots. We must rise again. We must unite again. We must fight again for God and country. God bless America. Where we go one, we go all. Then in post 3908, Q gave us Old Glory, the American flag. And what's very interesting about this was that Dan Scavino Jr. tweeted out earlier today, in a few moments, the crew of the U.S. Navy hospital ship USNSC Comfort will embark for New York City, where they'll join the ranks of tens of thousands of amazing doctors, nurses, and medical professionals who are battling to save American lives. Now, in this tweet, we have Trump in front of Comfort, standing in front of an American flag, showing the American flag in front of the Red Cross, and then we have the ship Comfort. Now, if we go back to March of 2019, March 28th to be exact, it reminds me of all the posts back then, 3257 to 3300. This is when Q told us flags out. And everyone was showing pictures of the American flag and how they put it out. I do believe that this was meant for this time right now. And what's very interesting is that I do believe that there are certain operations going on right now. There are certain people that are looking at different earthquakes that are happening around the world. I do believe that everything was set up for this moment. Now, does this mean that Clinton, Obama, they're all going to be arrested right now? No. I think what they're doing is they're removing the entire power structure. And this is why Q mentioned silent running tactics. I do believe there's a bigger operation coming on. I think that these individuals are panicked. And I just had an interview with Zach Voorhees, and you can find that on the Spotlight channel. And we talked about why we thought the censorship came down at this exact moment. And I do believe to wake the American people up to a point where they can announce what is going on, I do believe the censorship needed to be removed from Google. This way people can look it up. And I do believe that Q, Trump, and the Patriots actually set up these individuals when they were talking about deep fakes. Remember when Adam Schiff and Hillary Clinton all came out and said, oh, don't believe the deep fakes and all that stuff? And they told the social media search engines and the other systems to create systems that can detect fake photos and deep fakes. We know the government has this technology. For some reason, to bring the country together, to understand who these people are, I think they're going to release certain photos, videos on Google. Now remember, censorship has been brought down. 1,700 engineers to make this ridiculous website that's an if-else type of website. If the censorship is down and Google has the ability to confirm these photos that they're real, the government has the ability to confirm that these photos are real. Those people, Schiff, Clinton, many others, who are saying they're deep fakes, they're going to be in trouble. Now, remember post 868. This says, here comes the fake videos too. This is from the New York Times, showing how there's going to be pictures and videos and they're going to be fake. And you can't show that they're real at all. But we know that this is fake, phony, and false. Now, what's very interesting, since the Patriots are now controlling the censorship in Google, if we go to February 5th, 2020, Google, they released a tool to spot faked and doctored images. Jigsaw, a technology incubator at Google, they released an experimental platform called Assembler to help journalists and others to check and verify images. I do believe this is going to be used against these individuals. Now, think about it. You release these photos because how do you bring the people who are divided? Still, there are many that are still divided, but more and more are coming on board. How do you bring all these people together on an issue they can all agree upon? Children, right? Everyone agrees that you do not hurt children. You don't have sex with children. You don't kill children. If you can bring the public together, and as this information comes out and these people are saying that they're fake, and they check on Google, and they use this technology, and the mainstream media uses this technology, and it shows that these are real, and then the government comes in with their technology and says, yes, we all confirm these are real. What happens? You will unite the people under one cause. What can you do after this? You can then bring the others down. Remember, their power structure is being removed. Then you can go after them, and then it will start to make sense for everyone. And remember, when do you play the Trump card? You play it when you have a winning hand, where you don't have to worry about anything. You have it all. You remove the power structure. You set the people up. You release the photos. You get the country united. And then you play it. You play the entire, you just, boom, you set it all down. And I do believe this is why in post 3805, and Trump has said this too, the best is yet to come.